Robert Wilson was tired after a long day at work. Rain fell hard on his expensive car as he drove through the city streets. Robert was 38 years old and had more money than he could spend. He owned big buildings, fancy cars, and a beautiful house on a hill. But even with all this money, he felt empty inside. Tonight was different. As Robert stopped at a red light, he saw a woman sitting under a small shelter in the park. She was trying to stay dry from the rain. Something about her made Robert look twice. She wasn't begging for money like others he had seen. Instead, she sat quietly, reading an old book under the dim street light. Robert didn't know why, but he pulled his car over. Maybe it was how she held herself, or maybe he was just lonely. He grabbed his umbrella and walked toward her. "Excuse me," Robert said softly. "Are you okay? It's getting really cold out here." The woman looked up from her book. Her clothes were old and worn, but her eyes were bright and clear. She seemed surprised that someone like Robert would talk to her. "I'm fine, thank you," she said in a voice that sounded educated, just waiting for the rain to stop. Robert noticed she had a small bag beside her. It probably held everything she owned in the world. He felt a strange connection to her that he couldn't explain. "I'm Robert," he said, holding his umbrella over her. "Would you like to get some hot food? There's a diner around the corner. My treat, no strings attached." The woman looked at him carefully, like she was trying to decide if he was dangerous. "Why would you help a stranger?" she asked. Robert thought about it. "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. And because you look like you could use a friend tonight." After thinking for a moment, she stood up. "I'm Emma," she said, though Robert would later learn this wasn't her real name. "And yes, I would like some food. Thank you." They walked to Joe's Diner, a small place with bright lights and the smell of coffee. People stared as they entered, Robert in his expensive suit and Emma in her worn clothes. The waitress raised her eyebrows but said nothing as they sat in a corner booth. Emma ordered soup and coffee. As she ate, Robert noticed how she had good manners. She wasn't eating like someone who hadn't seen food in days. She ate slowly, carefully, like someone who knew better times. "How long have you been?" Robert wasn't sure how to ask. "Homeless." Emma finished for him. 8 months now. But it feels like a lifetime." "What happened, if you don't mind me asking?" Emma's eyes grew sad. "I lost everything. My job, my home, my reputation. All gone because I trusted the wrong people." She didn't say more, and Robert didn't push. Instead, they talked about simple things, books they had read, places in the city they liked. Emma was smart and funny. Robert found himself laughing for the first time in months. When they finished eating, Robert didn't want the evening to end. "It's still raining," he said. "I know a hotel nearby. I could pay for a room so you have a warm place to sleep tonight." Emma studied his face, looking for hidden motives. "Why are you being so kind to me?" Robert didn't have a good answer. "I don't know. Something just tells me I should help you." What Robert didn't know then was that Emma was watching him too. She noticed how he said, "Please," and "thank you" to the waitress, how he listened when she spoke, how his eyes looked honest and kind. As they left the diner, neither knew that this rainy night was just the beginning of a story that would change both their lives forever. Emma stayed at the hotel that night. It was small but clean, with a soft bed and hot water. She took her first real shower in weeks and slept without fear. When she woke up, she found that Robert had paid for the room for a whole week. The next day, Robert came back. He brought her new clothes in a shopping bag. Nothing fancy, just some jeans, t-shirts, and a warm jacket. "I don't need your charity," Emma said, but her voice was soft. "It's not charity," Robert said. "It's just one person helping another." Emma took the clothes but wouldn't accept anything else. Robert respected that. He liked that she had pride, even when she had nothing. They started meeting every day. Robert would pick Emma up at the hotel, and they would walk in the park or eat at simple places. He learned that she knew a lot about books and business. She asked smart questions about his work. Sometimes she even gave him good ideas for his projects. "How do you know so much about real estate?" Robert asked one day as they sat on a bench eating ice cream. Emma looked away. "I read a lot," she said, but Robert could tell there was more to her story. After 2 weeks, Robert's friends started to notice his new friend. "Who is this woman you're spending time with?" asked Michael, Robert's business partner. They were in Robert's big office on the 30th floor of his building. "Her name is Emma. Robert paused. "She's special." Michael laughed. "The homeless woman? Come on, Rob. She's just using you for your money. Once she gets enough, she'll be gone." Robert got angry. "You don't know her. She barely takes anything from me. Yesterday I tried to buy her a nice watch, and she refused." Michael shook his head. "That's how the smart ones work. They play hard to get. Watch your wallet, my friend." But Robert wasn't listening. He knew Emma was different. When they talked, she listened like she really cared. She remembered things he said weeks ago. She made him laugh. 1 month after they met, Robert took Emma to a nice restaurant. Not the fanciest place, but nicer than where they usually went. Emma wore the simple blue dress Robert had bought her. She looked beautiful. "You didn't have to bring me here," Emma said, looking at the menu with no prices. "I wanted to," Robert said. "Today is special." "Why?" "Because it's been exactly 1 month since I saw you in the rain." Emma smiled. "You remember the exact day." "I remember everything about that night," Robert said. After dinner, they walked by the river. The moon was bright on the water. Robert felt nervous, like a teenager. "Emma," he said, stopping to look at her, "I need to tell you something." Emma waited quietly. "I've never met anyone like you. You're smart and kind." And Robert took a deep breath. "I think I'm falling in love with you." Emma's eyes grew wide. "Robert, you don't know me." "Not really." "I know enough," he said. Emma shook her head. "You don't understand. There are things about me, about my past." "I don't care about your past," Robert said. "I care about now. About us." Emma looked at the water for a long time. When she turned back, there were tears in her eyes. "I care about you too," she whispered. "But I'm afraid." "Of what?" "That when you learn the truth, you'll hate me." Robert took her hand. "I could never hate you." As they stood there, a man in a business suit walked past. He stared at Emma for a moment, then hurried away, pulling out his phone. Emma watched him go, and her face turned white with fear. "What's wrong?" Robert asked. "Nothing," Emma said quickly. "Nothing at all." But Robert could tell she was lying. Something was very wrong, and soon he would find out what. 2 days after the man recognized Emma, she disappeared. Robert went to the hotel and found her room empty. She left no note, no message. Just gone. Robert looked everywhere for her. He drove through the streets, checked the park where they first met, and asked at all the shelters. No one had seen her. It was like Emma had never existed. "She took what she could and left," said Michael when Robert told him. "Just like I warned you." But Robert knew better. He remembered the fear in Emma's eyes when that man saw her. She wasn't running from Robert. She was running from something else. For 3 weeks, Robert searched. He couldn't eat or sleep. His work suffered. Then one rainy evening, just like the night they met, Robert found her. She was sitting in a small coffee shop in a part of town far from where they usually went. She wore a hat pulled low and looked over her shoulder every few minutes. When she saw Robert at the door, her face showed both happiness and fear. "You shouldn't be here," Emma said as he sat down across from her. "I've been looking everywhere for you," Robert said. His voice shook. "Why did you leave?" Emma looked down at her coffee. "To protect you." "Protect me from what?" Emma took a deep breath. "There are people looking for me. Bad people. That man who saw us by the river. He works for them." "Who are they?" What do they want? I can't tell you everything. Not yet. But I'm not who you think I am, Robert. Robert reached across the table and took her hand. Then tell me who you really are. Emma pulled her hand away. If I do, you'll be in danger too. I don't care, Robert said. I love you. Whatever trouble you're in, we can face it together. Emma looked into his eyes for a long time. Finally, she nodded. Okay, but not here. It's not safe. They left the coffee shop and went to a motel on the edge of town. Robert paid cash for the room so no one could track them. Inside, Emma sat on the bed and began her story. My real name isn't Emma, she said. It's Emily Chambers. Robert sat next to her, waiting. 3 years ago, I was an investment banker. I managed billions of dollars for my clients. I had an apartment on Park Avenue and a summer house in the Hamptons. Robert's eyes widened. You were rich. Emily nodded. Very rich and very good at my job. Until I discovered something I wasn't supposed to find. She told Robert how her boss, William Pierce, was stealing money from their clients. Millions of dollars, hidden in overseas accounts. When Emily found out, she went to Pierce, thinking he would fix it. But he didn't want to fix it, Emily said. He wanted to hide it. And I knew too much. Pierce framed Emily for the fraud. He planted fake evidence on her computer, made it look like she was the thief. The police came to arrest her, but Emily ran. I've been hiding ever since, she said. I changed my name, my appearance. I threw away my phone, my credit cards, anything they could use to track me. Why didn't you go to the police? Robert asked. Pierce has friends in high places, police, judges, even FBI. I tried to report him, but no one would listen. Instead, they came after me harder. Emily's hands shook. I've been gathering evidence against him. That's why I can't stay in one place too long. The man by the river, Robert said. He works for Pierce. Emily nodded. His name is David Cruz. He's Pierce's head of security. If he found me. She didn't finish the sentence, but Robert understood. Emily was in real danger. What can we do? He asked. Emily looked at him, surprised. We? Yes, we, Robert said firmly. I'm not leaving you to face this alone. For the first time in months, hope showed in Emily's eyes. But their moment of peace wouldn't last long. The next morning, Robert and Emily made a plan. They knew they couldn't keep running forever. They needed to fight back against Pierce. I have money, Robert said. Lots of it. We can hire the best lawyers in the country. Emily shook her head. Money won't help against Pierce. He has more than you. And he has powerful friends. Then what do we do? Emily reached into her small bag and pulled out a USB drive. I have this. It's what I've been protecting all this time. What's on it? Robert asked. Everything. Proof that Pierce stole the money. Emails, bank records, recorded phone calls. I collected it all before I ran. Robert looked at the small drive with amazement. Such a small thing had cost Emily everything. But if you have proof, why haven't you used it? It's not enough, Emily said. I need one more piece of evidence. There's a secret account in Switzerland. If I can prove Pierce controls it, we can stop him. Robert thought for a moment. I know someone who might help. My friend Jack is a computer expert. He does security work for my company. Emily looked worried. Can we trust him? With my life, Robert said. And now with yours too. They left the motel carefully, watching for anyone following them. Robert called Jack from a payphone, not using his cell phone, in case someone was tracking it. Jack agreed to meet them at a small house Robert owned outside the city. No one knew about this house, not even Michael. Robert had bought it years ago as a quiet place to think. When they arrived, Jack was waiting. He was a thin man with glasses and messy hair. He didn't ask many questions when Robert explained they needed help. True friends don't always need all the details. Jack looked at the files on Emily's USB drive. "This is serious stuff," he said. "Pierce could go to jail for a long time." "Can you get into this Swiss account?" Emily asked. Jack nodded. "Maybe. It will take time. And it's not exactly legal." "We don't have a choice," Robert said. For 2 days, they worked in the small house. Jack used his computer skills to follow the money trail. Emily helped, showing she knew a lot about banking. Robert was amazed by how smart she was. On the 3rd day, Jack found what they needed. "Got it," he said, pointing at his screen. "The account is definitely controlled by Pierce. And look at these transfers. Millions of dollars, just like Emily said." Emily smiled for the first time in days. Now we have him. But their victory didn't last long. As they were looking at the screen, they heard cars pulling up outside. Through the window, they saw 3 black SUVs. Men in suits got out. One of them was David Cruz, the man who had seen Emily by the river. "They found us," Emily whispered. "But how?" Robert looked at his phone. "Michael, I called him yesterday to cancel a meeting. He must have tracked my phone. We need to leave now," Jack said, quickly copying the files to a new drive. But it was too late. The men surrounded the house. They heard a loud voice through a speaker. "Emily Chambers, we know you're in there. Come out now." Robert looked at Emily, fear in his eyes. But Emily stood up straight, no longer afraid. "I'm tired of running," she said. "It's time to end this." Robert took her hand. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you." Emily squeezed his hand and took a deep breath. "Let's make a different kind of plan." As the men outside prepared to enter, Emily's mind was already working. She had lost everything once. She wouldn't lose again, especially not now, when she had found something worth fighting for. Emily whispered her plan quickly to Robert and Jack. They had only minutes before the men would break in. "Jack, send all the files to these email addresses," Emily said, writing down 3 addresses. "They belong to reporters I trust. If anything happens to us, they'll get the story out." Jack nodded and started typing fast. "Robert, call this number," she continued, giving him a piece of paper. "Ask for Agent Sarah Taylor. Tell her it's about Operation Falcon." Robert looked confused but did as she asked. He dialed the number on his phone. "Who is Agent Taylor?" he whispered while waiting for someone to answer. "FBI," Emily said. "She's been building a case against Pierce for years. I was working with her before everything went wrong." Outside, Cruz and his men were getting closer to the door. 5 more minutes. Jack called out, still sending files. Suddenly, Robert got through on the phone. "Agent Taylor, my name is Robert Wilson. I'm with Emily Chambers. She said to tell you this is about Operation Falcon." He listened, then handed the phone to Emily. "Sarah, it's Emily," she said quickly. "Yes, I'm alive. We have everything you need on Pierce, but his men found us. We're at—" She gave the address of Robert's house. "How fast can you get here?" Emily's face fell as she listened to the answer. 20 minutes. We don't have that long." Just then, they heard a loud crash. Cruz's men were breaking down the door. "Files sent," Jack shouted, closing his laptop. "We need to buy time," Emily said, hanging up the phone. "There's a back door through the kitchen. Jack, take the USB drive and go. Get as far away as you can." Jack looked worried. "What about you two?" "We'll distract them," Robert said. "Go." Jack grabbed his laptop and the USB drive and ran to the kitchen. Emily turned to Robert. "You should go too. This isn't your fight." Robert shook his head. "I told you, I'm not leaving you." The front door burst open. Cruz and 2 other men entered with guns. "Emily Chambers," Cruz said with a cold smile. "Mr. Pierce will be happy to see you." "I bet he will," Emily said, standing tall. "Where is he?" "Too afraid to come himself." Cruz laughed. "Mr. Pierce doesn't get his hands dirty. That's what he pays me for." Robert stepped forward. "You're trespassing on my property." Leave now." Cruz looked at Robert with amusement. "And you must be the rich boyfriend. Step aside. This doesn't concern you." "It concerns me very much," Robert said. Cruz pointed his gun at Robert. "I won't ask again." Emily moved between them. "Don't hurt him. I'll go with you." "Emily?" "No," Robert protested. "Smart choice," Cruz said, grabbing Emily's arm. "Let's go." As they walked toward the door, Emily suddenly stomped hard on Cruz's foot and twisted away. Cruz yelled in pain and raised his gun. Robert tackled him from behind. They fell to the floor, fighting for the gun. The other men rushed to help Cruz. In the chaos, Emily grabbed a lamp and hit one man on the head. He fell down, not moving. The second man grabbed Emily. She fought hard, but he was stronger. He dragged her toward the door. Robert and Cruz were still fighting on the floor. The gun went off with a loud bang. Both men froze. Robert looked down at his chest, expecting to see blood, but he was fine. It was Cruz who had been shot. He lay still, the gun fallen from his hand. The man holding Emily pointed his gun at Robert. "Don't move." Just then, they heard sirens. Many police cars were coming fast. The man looked scared. He let go of Emily and ran out the door. Emily rushed to Robert. "Are you hurt?" "I'm okay," he said, standing up shakily. "The police are coming." "But how?" Emily smiled. "I texted Sarah our exact location while you were on the phone with her." Robert looked at Emily with new respect. She wasn't just smart. She was brave and quick-thinking, too. As police cars surrounded the house, Emily took Robert's hand. "Thank you for believing in me," she said softly. Robert squeezed her hand. "Always." But their battle was far from over. Pierce was still free, and he was a dangerous enemy to have. Agent Sarah Taylor arrived with a team of FBI agents. She was a tall woman with short hair and a serious face. When she saw Emily, her eyes widened. "Emily Chambers," she said. "We thought you were dead." "Almost," Emily replied. "Several times." The FBI agents took control of the house. They handcuffed Cruz, who was hurt but alive. Medical workers came to check on everyone. Agent Taylor sat with Emily and Robert in the kitchen. Jack had returned when he saw the FBI cars. "We've been looking for you for over a year," Agent Taylor told Emily. "Why didn't you contact me sooner?" "I tried," Emily said. "But every time I reached out, Pierce's men found me. I thought someone in the FBI might be working for him." Agent Taylor nodded. "You were right. We found a mole in our office 6 months ago. That's why we couldn't find you or protect you." Robert listened with amazement. The woman he had found homeless in the rain had been part of a major FBI investigation all along. "What happens now?" he asked. "We arrest Pierce," Agent Taylor said simply. "Thanks to your evidence, we have everything we need." "It won't be easy," Emily warned. "Pierce has friends in high places." "Not as many as he thinks," Agent Taylor smiled. "We've been building this case carefully. Many of his friends are already cooperating with us to save themselves." For the first time, Emily allowed herself to hope. "So it's really over?" "Almost," Agent Taylor said. "But we still need you. Will you testify against Pierce?" Emily didn't hesitate. "Yes, I want my life back." Agent Taylor stood up. "Good. We'll move against Pierce tomorrow morning. Until then, you'll stay in protective custody." "No," Robert said firmly. "She stays with me. My building has the best security in the city." Agent Taylor looked at him carefully. "And you are?" "Robert Wilson," he said. "I'm." He looked at Emily. "He's the man I love," Emily finished. "And I trust him with my life." Agent Taylor thought for a moment, then nodded. "Fine, but I'm posting agents outside your building." That night, Robert took Emily to his penthouse apartment. It was huge, with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city lights. "So this is how you live," Emily said, looking around. "It's beautiful." "It never felt like home before," Robert said. Not until now. Emily turned to him. Robert, I need to say something. I've lied to you from the beginning. I hid who I really was. I understand if you want to end things between us. Robert took her hands. Emily, when I found you in the rain that night, I didn't fall in love with your past or your job or your bank account. I fell in love with you, the person you are inside. Tears filled Emily's eyes. Even after everything that's happened. Especially after everything that's happened, Robert smiled. You're the bravest, smartest person I've ever met. They stood together, looking out at the city. Tomorrow would bring the final showdown with Pierce. But tonight, they had found peace. Early the next morning, Emily's phone rang. It was Agent Taylor. Turn on the news, she said, her voice tight. Robert grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. A news reporter was standing outside a large mansion. Breaking news this morning, the reporter said. William Pierce, CEO of Pierce Financial, was found dead in his home early today. Police say it appears to be suicide, but investigation is ongoing. Emily sat down hard on the couch. He's dead. It seems so, Agent Taylor said through the phone. We were moving in to arrest him when his security team found him. He left a note confessing to the fraud. Robert put his arm around Emily. It's over, he said. Really over. But looking at Emily's face, he knew something was wrong. No, she said slowly. This doesn't make sense. Pierce would never kill himself. And he definitely wouldn't confess. Agent Taylor's voice was grim. I was thinking the same thing. This isn't over. It's just getting more complicated. Agent Taylor arrived at Robert's apartment an hour later. She brought photos of Pierce's house and the note he supposedly wrote. Emily studied the note carefully. I can't live with what I've done anymore. I confess to all fraud charges against me. This is not Pierce's handwriting, she said firmly. How can you be sure? Robert asked. I worked with him for 5 years. I've seen hundreds of his signatures and notes. Emily pointed to the letters. Pierce makes his F differently, and he never writes anymore as one word. He always writes it as anymore, 2 words. Agent Taylor nodded. Our experts think the same thing. This note is fake. But why? Robert asked. Why would someone kill Pierce and make it look like suicide? Emily paced the room, thinking hard. Pierce knew too much. He had partners in his scheme. People even more powerful than him. Like who? Agent Taylor asked. Emily stopped pacing. The chairman, she said quietly. Who? Robert asked. Edward Green, Emily explained. He's the chairman of the Federal Banking Commission. He was Pierce's mentor years ago. I always suspected he was involved in the fraud, but I never had proof. Agent Taylor's face showed surprise. Green? He's one of the most respected men in Washington. The perfect cover, Emily said. If Green was working with Pierce, he would want to silence him before he could make a deal with the FBI. Robert looked out the window at the city below. So what do we do now? We need proof, Agent Taylor said. Without it, we can't touch someone like Green. Emily sat down at Robert's computer. I might know where to look. Pierce kept a secret set of books. He called it the Black Ledger. Only his most trusted people knew about it. How do you know? Agent Taylor asked. I overheard him talking about it once. He didn't know I was there. Emily started typing. The ledger would have records of all of his deals, including any with Green. Do you know where it is? Robert asked. Emily nodded slowly. I think so. Pierce had a cabin in the mountains. He went there when he needed to work in secret. The ledger might be there. Agent Taylor made a call to get the address of Pierce's cabin. Within an hour, they were in a car heading north out of the city. 2 FBI agents drove, with Robert, Emily, and Agent Taylor in the back. What if Green knows we're looking for the ledger? Robert asked. He probably does, Agent Taylor said grimly. If he had Pierce killed, he'll be watching all of Pierce's properties. As they drove into the mountains, The roads became narrow and winding. Tall trees made the day seem like evening. After 2 hours, they turned onto a dirt road leading deep into the forest. "Stop the car," Emily said suddenly. The driver pulled over. "What's wrong?" Emily pointed ahead. "Pierce's cabin is around that curve. But look at the ground." Everyone looked at the dirt road. There were fresh tire tracks. "Someone's here," Agent Taylor said quietly. She took out her gun. "Everyone stay in the car. Wilson, take care of Emily." The 2 FBI agents got out with Agent Taylor. They moved slowly down the road, staying close to the trees. Robert held Emily's hand tightly. "I don't like this," he said. "Me neither," Emily replied. "Something feels wrong." Suddenly, they heard gunshots, many of them coming from the direction of the cabin. Robert pulled Emily down below the car windows. "Stay down." More shots rang out. Then they heard a car engine start. A black SUV sped around the curve, coming straight at them. The driver wore a mask. He didn't slow down. "He's going to hit us," Emily shouted. Their driver tried to move their car, but there wasn't enough time. The SUV slammed into them, pushing their car off the road. The car rolled down a small hill, stopping against a tree. Robert felt pain in his head. Beside him, Emily wasn't moving. "Emily," he called, reaching for her. "Emily, wake up." As his vision blurred, Robert saw the SUV speeding away. Then everything went black. Robert woke up in a hospital bed. His head hurt, and his arm was in a cast. For a moment, he couldn't remember what had happened. Then it all came back. The cabin, the gunshots, the crash. "Emily." He tried to sit up, but pain shot through his body. "Easy there," said a voice. Agent Taylor sat in a chair next to his bed. She had a bandage on her forehead. "You've been out for 2 days. Where's Emily? Is she okay?" Robert asked, his voice shaking. Agent Taylor looked tired. "She's alive. She had a bad head injury and some broken ribs. The doctors say she'll recover." Robert fell back against his pillow, relieved. "And the others? Your agents?" "Agent Parker didn't make it," Taylor said quietly. "Agent Johnson was shot but will survive." Robert closed his eyes. Someone had died trying to help them. "Did you catch the men who attacked us?" "No. They were gone by the time backup arrived." Agent Taylor leaned forward. "But we found something in the cabin. The black ledger was there, just like Emily said." Robert's eyes opened wide. "You found it. What does it show?" "Everything. Green's name is all over it. He and Pierce were partners for years. Green used his position to help Pierce steal millions, and they split the money. So now you can arrest Green." Agent Taylor's face darkened. "It's not that simple. Green is powerful. He has friends in the Justice Department, in Congress, even in the White House. We need more than the ledger. We need living witnesses." "Emily," Robert said. "Yes. And you too, now. You've seen enough to testify." Agent Taylor stood up. "But first, we need to get you both to safety. Green knows you're alive, and he'll try again." Just then, a nurse came in. "Mr. Wilson needs to rest now." Agent Taylor nodded. "I'll check on Emily and be back later." After she left, the nurse checked Robert's vital signs. "You're doing well for someone who was in such a bad crash. You must be strong." "When can I see Emily?" Robert asked. "The woman who was with you. She's down the hall. Room 412. The nurse gave him a stern look. "But you're not allowed out of bed yet." As soon as the nurse left, Robert carefully removed his IV and stood up. Pain shot through his body, but he ignored it. He needed to see Emily. The hallway was quiet. It was late evening, and most visitors had gone home. Robert moved slowly, using the wall for support. When he reached room 412, he quietly opened the door. Emily lay in the bed, her face pale and bruised, a bandage wrapped around her head. Machines beeped softly beside her. Robert sat in the chair next to her bed and gently took her hand. "I'm here, Emily." To his surprise, her eyes fluttered open. "Robert." Her voice was weak. "Yes, it's me. Don't try to talk. You need to rest." Emily squeezed his hand weakly. "The ledger. They found it. Taylor has it. It shows everything about Green." Emily closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "Not safe here. Green will find us." "Taylor is arranging protection," Robert assured her. Emily tried to shake her head, wincing with pain. "No, can't trust anyone. Not yet." Robert leaned closer. "What do you mean?" "Green has people everywhere. We need to." Her voice trailed off as she grew tired. "What do we need to do, Emily?" She looked at him with tired but determined eyes. "We need to go public. Tell everyone. Once the story is out, he can't hide it anymore." Robert thought about this. "But how? We're in a hospital. We can't just leave." A small smile appeared on Emily's lips. "Remember how we met? I'm good at disappearing when I need to." Robert smiled back. Despite everything, Emily's spirit was unbroken. She was still fighting. "Rest now," he said, kissing her forehead gently. "We'll make a plan tomorrow." As Emily drifted off to sleep, Robert looked out the window at the city lights. Their enemies were powerful, but they had something stronger: the truth. And they would make sure the world heard it. 3 days later, Robert and Emily disappeared from the hospital. The FBI searched everywhere, but couldn't find them. Agent Taylor was worried. Had Green's men taken them, or had they run away on their own? The answer came 1 week later. Every major news channel in the country was showing the same story. Emily Chambers, live on camera, telling the world everything. She explained how peers had stolen millions of dollars. She showed copies from the black ledger that proved Green was involved. She told her own story, how she had been framed, how she had lived on the streets, and how a kind millionaire had helped her when no one else would. Robert sat beside her during the interview, holding her hand. He told his part of the story too, finding Emily in the rain, falling in love, and nearly being killed for helping her. "We're sharing this story to protect ourselves," Emily said to the camera. "Too many people have been hurt trying to hide the truth. Now everyone knows." The broadcast was happening from a secret location. Robert had used his money and connections to set it up, making sure no one could trace them. When the interview ended, their phones rang immediately. It was Agent Taylor. "That was either very brave or very stupid," she said. "Green is furious." "But he can't touch us now," Robert replied. "The whole country is watching." "You're right," Agent Taylor admitted. "The Justice Department is already getting calls from Congress. They're opening an official investigation into Green." "It's finally happening," Emily said, tears in her eyes. "After all this time." 2 months passed. Green was arrested and charged with fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. The evidence in the black ledger was too strong to ignore. Several other powerful people were arrested too. The scandal was in the news every day. Emily testified at the hearings, her head held high. She was no longer afraid. And she was no longer homeless. Her name was cleared, and the banks returned the money that had been taken from her. One evening, Emily and Robert sat on the balcony of his penthouse, watching the sunset. "What will you do now?" Robert asked. "You have your life back. Your money, your reputation, everything." Emily looked at him. "Are you worried I'll leave?" Robert shrugged. "You don't need me anymore. You can go anywhere, do anything." Emily took his hand. "When you found me that night in the rain, I had nothing. But you saw me, the real me, when everyone else just saw a homeless woman. You loved me when I had nothing to offer." "I loved you because of who you are," Robert said, "not what you had or didn't have." Emily smiled. "And that's why I'm staying. Because I love you for the same reason." Robert pulled a small box from his pocket. "I've been waiting for the right time to give you this." He opened it to show a beautiful diamond ring. "Will you marry me, Emily Chambers? For real this time, with no secrets between us?" Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Yes," she whispered. "No more secrets." 3 months later, they were married in a small ceremony with only close friends attending. Agent Taylor was there, along with Jack, who had helped them expose the truth. As they said their vows, Emily thought about her journey. From successful banker to homeless woman to a bride. Life had taken her in circles, but she had ended up exactly where she was meant to be. After the wedding, Emily and Robert started a foundation to help homeless people rebuild their lives. They knew better than most that sometimes good people end up on the streets through no fault of their own. And sometimes, those people just need someone to see past their circumstances and recognize their true worth. The millionaire and the homeless woman had both been changed by their story. And now, they were changing the world together.